Welcome back. I got Chris Smith here from No Love Lost Tattoos in Bowmanville, Ontario. Chris, how's it going, man?
Good. I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing really well, man. It's been a while since I've seen you last. I think it was what covered. I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah,
Yeah, I saw you covered.
yeah. That was pretty good. What'd you think of that show?
That was a pretty interesting show. I've never been to a tattoo convention quite like that one before. I mean, I know that that was the first year that they had done it uh, in Ontario. I know that they have a bunch of other conventions that they did in the States, and they're really popular there. So obviously, there's going to be little hiccups and stuff like that happen when you do anything for the first time. So it was a little disorganized at times, but I mean that's to be expected. I enjoyed my time there. I did some rad tattoos. I thought that their contest um, layout was very unique. They had so many different tattoo contests and categories and awards and stuff like that. I've never seen a tattoo contest put on like that before.
Mhm.
What did you think of the way that they had their contests and their awards kind of laid out?
I didn't mind it. Compared to Nick's, it was a little different for sure. I haven't traveled a whole lot and done a whole lot of different tattoo conventions to compare it by, you know what I mean, or compare it to.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, no, I thought it was pretty good. I had some personal shit come up and I actually had to leave pretty early. Actually, I think it was the second day I had to leave, but Hellfire, my shop was still there. Kyle and everybody and Jamie, they all stayed. So it was fun though. I definitely give it that. And if they have it a second year after COVID, then I'll definitely go back for sure. I got no
Mhm.
problems with that.
Yeah,
So
I was chatting with some of your crew there on the last day. The last day was a little bit slower. I think a lot of the artists were kind of taking off early on the Sunday. There wasn't too
yeah,
much traffic. There wasn't too much going on the Sunday. So I spent a little bit of time hanging out at your booth because I tried to get a print to you, and I
yeah,
heard that you
yeah, which I
all that.
appreciate.
But hey, man, I tried. The other 2 days I was tattooing, so I couldn't get around to see you.
Yeah, all good, man. All good. I appreciate the print for sure, man. Shit. So, Christ, we've known each other for a while, eh, man? We're back
Oh
at the
yeah, we
Lucky
go
Devil
way
days, man.
way
What the?
back.
Yeah, that's what, like 13 years, 14 years ago,
Oh God, yeah.
something like that. Yeah, it was
and
fun times, though, man.
and who would ever have thought that we would be here where we're at today? You owning your own studio, a successful tattoo studio in Barrie, and me opening up my own studio. I never
Yep.
thought I would have a tattoo studio, and I think that's just the way that fate would have it. And here I am doing what I'm doing for the last like 6 years now. I've had my studio. What do you think of owning a studio? Do you like it? Do you like the challenges that it presents being an artist as well?
I do. You know what? I really like it. I have a business partner, obviously, Kyle. You know Kyle,
Yeah.
and I had the other shop with Jay and Chris and all of them, and it was fun. I like it. And without sounding too cliche and stuff like that, I'm kind of more laid back artist, I guess you could say. I mean, it's probably because my old age is kind of catching up to me, right? A little bit. So I like to. I'm not a hustler anymore, man. I can't hustle
Yeah,
like I was before, So like I think on my end, a smaller studio would probably be a little bit better fit for me just because of my schedule. And I've got so much going on, right? Like the whole the podcast thing, the streaming thing and everything else, right? I've got so much shit on my plate. So I think taking a little bit of a step back from 6 days a week plugging away, I'd rather do a few days a week here, a few days a week there. But at the same time, I got kids to feed, right? So, but it's definitely fun. I'd rather work for myself than work for somebody else. That's for sure.
yeah. Like I hear what you're saying about having too much on your plate, and I'm often curious with artists like yourself that have a family that have kids
Hmm.
and do tattoos for a full time job and also own a studio. I'm like, yeah, you have to be really good at time management because all of these things are important to you in life, and you want to dedicate as much time as you can to them. So you kind of have to like spread it out and go, all right, I'm going to dedicate 25% of my life to this, 25% of my life to that. You have to have that balance. And that's the challenge in itself. And that's what I've found. I don't have kids yet, but I have two dogs, and I look at them as my children. So I want to give them,
Yep.
time, and my wife and my tattooing. My tattooing is number one, though. It always comes back to that.
Yeah,
Number one,
absolutely.
in my life that's gotten me here is my artwork. So I try to focus as much of my energy that's possible on my artwork, and then my shop and my family is kind of second in there. They kind of share the time after my artwork. It kind of sounds like selfish to say that, but I'm an artist. That's
We're
what
artists.
I do.
Yeah,
Oh,
man. Yeah. Well, you're killing it, man, for sure. I definitely, still to this day, even when I met you, man, I look up to you. Your artwork, I look up to you. It's very inspiring, you know. So, but you're like full blown married. Like you got married.
yeah, got the ring right here.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. It's probably a while
Got,
ago.
no, actually, it's been pretty recent. Last November, I got married.
Oh,
It's been I didn't expect my first year of being married to be like this. It's been a roller coaster.
yeah. No doubt, man. No doubt. Wait till you have kids, human kids. I've got fur babies as well, but you know, they're I got 2 dogs and 3 kids, and it's challenging, man.
Well, having the kids and having like that great stuff that's in your life, that it takes a lot of time, but it also pushes you to work harder. You know, you're like, I got to work harder. I got to do good things.
Absolutely.
I got to, support my family. So yeah, I see that as a great way of inspiring yourself to work super hard and keep going and keep being hungry at it. And I know for myself, it's hard to find inspiration sometimes to keep plugging away, like you said, hustling.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not. I've been in the game for 23 years now, so it's hard to find that energy and that inspiration every single day to keep going.
Hmm. Yeah, man. No, it's like they keep me going. That's for sure. They keep me on my toes, and they're the ones that keep me pushing, right? And I'm sure, like with any mom, any dad, any parent, whatever, in any profession, they're gonna say the same thing, right? They just
Mhm.
keep going, right? But I find, being an artist, the way that we think and stuff like that, our mindset and stuff like that, right? It's different, man. Which,
It's obsessive.
pardon?
It's obsessive.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. And and like it's weird because with it's going to bring me to this basically this conversation I'm going to have with you is the style of tattooing and my style, right? Like I kept changing what I wanted to do and stuff, and I think I recently just found what I wanted to do all the time, right? And it's crazy. And like you do one, you knock it out of the park, you think anyway, like you're very happy with your own work, and then again, being obsessive, you want to get back in there, you want tomorrow to come so you can just do another one, and that's just it. It's obsessive. It's awesome. It's a great industry to be in, man.
Yeah, any artist that I've ever talked to or met, even if they're not into tattooing, art has a way of just consuming your life, and it's
Yeah.
more than a career or a job. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
I'm speaking for myself and for every other artist out there. I'm sure they would agree. It's all you think about. You go to bed and you're thinking about your next project, what you did that day, and where you can improve on it, and what's next, and it just completely consumes you. So the balancing act is the tricky one. You have to make sure that you're giving your all, and you're being obsessive with it, and you're being consumed by it, but not totally consumed by it, and you're still able to give a piece of yourself to other aspects in your life. Because if you just bury yourself in art all the time, you're gonna kind of lose touch with enjoying living your life as well. So it's kind of
Absolutely.
a dance of like, okay, how much can I put into my art, and how much should I put into my art?
Yeah, no, I agree. Balance is key, man. That's a key with anything. And it's funny you say that like our minds never stop racing as an artist either. I've noticed from when I used to even be a welder and stuff, right? Like my mind's constantly racing. It's constantly thinking about, new designs or whatever, right? It's crazy, man.
Do you have problems like sleeping, and have problems with anxiety because of that? Like
Yep.
your mind just shut off?
Yep, absolutely, man. And I've like I never used to have this at all. And like again, back when we met back in the Devil days and stuff like that, I had none of that stuff. And I think it just maybe after like 5 years, my first 5 years of tattooing, it finally started catching up to me, man. And it was because of that, like the mental health part of it. I started to develop anxiety and stuff like that, and overthinking and stuff because my mind was constantly going, and trouble sleeping. It happened, and then I actually quit smoking cigarettes after 20 years of smoking. You know,
Wow.
and it kind of threw me off a little bit, right? And I went into a fucking wormhole essentially, and I just sat there for a little bit. I didn't want to go to work, and I wasn't putting in 110% effort towards my tattoos. And I did not, that's not fair to my client. That's not fair to me, my business, or anybody. It's not fair. So I just had to take a step back for a little while and, gather my thoughts. And, I came out of it, and I'm here. I still don't smoke. It's been like, what, 6 years, 7 years since I've smoked, I think, something like that.
Right,
And
congratulations.
thanks, man. It's definitely awesome not being a smoker. I don't smell shit like that. But yeah, the mental health thing fucked me up, man. It fucked me up, and I still I still feel it, right? But I think with stepping back, it's definitely helped me. Not working the 6 days a week and stuff, and trying to do other things on the side of tattooing. Whether it's painting, podcasting, video games, whatever. It's helped me. So, how about you? Has it affected you?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you're talking about how you develop anxiety, and that story I think is going to resonate with a lot of other people, not just in tattooing, but in this fast-paced world that we live in. It's crazy. You gotta swim with the sharks and keep going no matter what, and that creates a lot of anxiety in people. And I definitely noticed. I have a similar story to you. I think it was like 10 years into tattooing, I really started getting bad anxiety problems because of the pressure. The pressure was just constant, and I wasn't recognizing how much pressure it was putting on me. And it got to me at a point too, and I almost snapped. And the point where I almost snapped is when I opened my studio, because I said I'm either gonna give up tattooing because this is killing me. The stress is whittling me away to nothing, or I'm going to open up my own studio, and hopefully that will be the spark that reinvigorates my love for tattooing and makes me love doing it and want to do it. And so here we are. I opened my studio and everything went great. I mean, I still had to battle with some sort of mental stuff, and every day I still do too. But for me, what helped me was surrounding myself with other artists, younger artists, that reminded me of what I was like when I first started. Their hunger for being better, learning, and wanting to do crazy tattoos, and wanting to go to conventions and do guest spots and meet new people. Like, that invigorates me every day. So having a studio, I think, was what saved my life and saved my career.
Nice. Yeah, no, it's definitely helped me too, man. And being around positive people, and like you said, like the younger artists, or even just different artists in general, changing it up once in a while. And it's a change from the norm, and it's helped me a lot anyway. And me opening up Hellfire with Kyle and stuff like that, it was a good move for me mentally. It was definitely a good move, man. So, but I know mostly how you started tattooing. So how about you let everybody else know how you got into tattooing, man?
I was drawing my whole life, always drawing, always creating art, mostly into like comic book style art, pinup girls and comic book characters and dragons and skulls, and like some of the classic imagery that you see in tattooing. And I wanted to go somewhere with it. Every artist that loves to do art wants to go somewhere with their art. They want to create a life out of it and make a living off of doing it. So, like, what avenue do you go down? When I first got into it, tattooing wasn't as popular as it is now. So it was a huge push to try to get into this industry. I just got obsessed with it because someone gave me a tattoo magazine, and I was like, yeah, this is the kind of art that I like to do. I'd love to do this for a living. Started getting tattooed, got obsessed with the culture of it, wanted to get more tattoos, wanted to learn more. And I felt like it was a viable career for me. I just had this crazy fire in me and this passion for loving tattoos that I felt like it would work, and I just threw everything into it. And I had to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. Finally got my apprenticeship after many years of trying to work that out, because no one was taking apprentices back in the day. You'd walk into tattoo studios, and I don't know if you had the same experience, but I got laughed at a lot.
Oh yeah, I got fucking laughed at. Fucking pretty sure you're probably one of the ones that laughed at me. It's all good.
I'm sorry if I laughed at you, man. I don't remember that. Maybe I did.
Whatever, it is what it is, man. Like I have apprentices now too, or an apprentice, and it's we all got to start somewhere. That's the name of the game, right? I started tattooing myself, for fuck's sakes, and some of them are still not covered up.
And that's a pretty common story amongst a lot of people I've met that are around our age in tattooing. They started tattooing their thighs and everything, and you do whatever you can to learn. You're like,
man, absolutely.
And I'll do it. I got skin right here that I can see. I'm going to tattoo it. I never went that route. but I know a lot of people that did. I had a younger brother, so I didn't have to tattoo myself.
He was a pincushion for you.
Oh yeah, yeah. He was a willing participant. Let me just make that clear. I never forced him to do anything. He wanted, and I've covered up pretty much all the stuff that I did on him that was trash back in the day.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I'm sure he's happier now, probably. But it's what do you call it? It's a journey, right? Like I think I had this conversation in my last podcast was seeing your old work on somebody, and us as the artist are like, holy shit, I didn't do that. Like they're like, yeah, you did. You're like, no, I didn't. Like really, you just
you don't want to admit it.
Yeah, you don't want to admit it, right? Like that's not mine. But anyways, like sometimes the people are like super stoked, right? They get to rep your older stuff and see your progression on them, and I actually don't like to see it myself.
Yeah, I actually really like seeing my older stuff because that's my it's like going back to look at drawings that your mom used to put up on the fridge, right? You're like, oh wow, like I came from that. Like that was my beginning, and that's like a timeline for me, and it makes me humble, and it makes me remember where I came from, and that I'm gonna continue to advance no matter what. I'm always gonna keep moving forward. I'm always gonna keep trying and always be hungry for progression within my art. So I like seeing my older stuff too. And it also gives me a chance to learn what worked and what didn't work and like what makes a tattoo solid, right? I love seeing stuff 10 years later that still looks good and still solid. And I'm going, oh yeah, okay. So I put a lot of black into that tattoo and it's still hanging around. All right, I'm going to keep doing that.
Yeah.
It reminds me of what a solid tattoo is.
Yeah, there's a big debate around that shit in this industry, man, whether a lot of black needs to be in your tattoos and stuff. And me personally, I'm huge on the black pigment, with my style that I've continued to do. I've dipping into the color and the black and gray and stuff, but I'm finding with the black and gray that I'm doing, you need those heavy blacks. There's not a lot of solid big bold outlines with my stuff, obviously on the more realism side of things. But the heavy blacks to box everything in and to take those light tones and have them boxed in so they last, right? Even with color, the same thing, right? You got to have black in there. But I don't know your thoughts about it, but I know that you have a lot of with some of the stuff I'm seeing for sure on social media, like you've got a lot of lines in there, which is great, man, and that shit holds.
Yeah, I think when it comes to realism, there's a way to get around not using black. And still making a solid tattoo that will last, and that's contrast. It all comes down to contrast. Mm-hmm. You can't have a light tone as like an edge tone without anything bordering it and making it pop, or it's gonna fade away, turn to nothing. You're not even gonna see the subtleties there anymore. So if you're gonna not use heavy blacks, you got to use contrast. So that's like deep reds and deep purples and stuff like that you can put lighter tones up against, and then that's what's going to hold the structure of your tattoo together over time. So it doesn't necessarily have to be black, but I mean, I prefer black. I know black is true and solid and will always last. Like if you look at the old American traditional tattoos or traditional Japanese tattoos, and you look at them 20, 30 years later, and you can still 100% tell what they are because of how much black they use. So it's I'm never unsure about my tattoo lasting a long time if I put black into it.
Yeah, you know what though? I've always thought too. I don't think I've ever seen a 30-year-old realism tattoo. I don't think it really existed that far back. You know what I mean? As popular as
it's
now.
Rare.
So
definitely
yeah, rare. Yeah, for sure. But I can't really say. I've seen realism tattoos I did 10 years ago or didn't do 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? But But do you think with the whole the comic book style, when you said that you were drawing, and that's how you started drawing, and do you think that that's really stuck with you with your style of tattooing today?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the comic book style, just on its own as a comic book, is great. It's fantastic. I love how dynamic the characters are and how popping and vibrant the colors are, how much black they put into it. So that style of art translates really well into tattooing because it has a lot of the traditional foundations of tattooing with outlines and black and bright contrast in colors and darks and stuff. So that was an easy transition for me to get into tattooing with. And I still love doing that kind of art to this day. I think it's fantastic. But I mean, I don't want to just reproduce comic books. I just don't want to take your typical Spider-Man and go, all right, cool. I just reproduced a Spider-Man comic book on someone's skin. Like, that's cool for them to wear. Awesome. But I want to take those characters or create my own characters and draw it myself and sketch it out myself and not just replicate it, because that's more fun for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man, for sure. It's custom too, right? Like it's not something that, like you said, it's taking a Spider-Man out of a comic book and tattooing it. And, you know, other people, obviously, we know this as artists, that other people can obviously have that same design, right? But hopefully without getting ripped off, if you create your own custom Spider-Man per se, hopefully nobody rips you off, and there's it's one of a kind,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
mean, everything I do is custom.
Yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
really do, I don't reproduce art anymore because in my opinion, in my mind, reproducing art is practice. It's good for practice because you get to see how the masters created that art and you learn from doing that practice, but you're not being original when you do it. So I like to
Hmm.
be original in everything that I do. I've done all the reproductions. I can't even count how many reproductions I've done, in my career as an artist. So I want to do something that's unique, and I want to give that individual that experience as well with their tattoo. That's like, hey, this is my tattoo. I own this. Nobody else has this. This is an expression of who I am, and it means something to them. And I want to do that with every single piece that I do. It has to be special and symbolic to that individual.
Right. Yeah, no, I understand 100%, man, for sure. So with like all that being said, with the trends of tattooing, like where do you like, what do you think is going to be like new trends coming up and stuff like that? And what's your thoughts on trends that have, come and gone or that are here now, like different styles or, people putting spins on things. What do you think?
Well, everyone wants to just keep pushing the limits, right? And with social media, you're seeing tattoos from all over the world.
Yeah.
So it's hard to push limits now. As you look at some of the stuff that's happening over like in Europe and Russia and Australia, and some of these artists are just
Yeah, these
mind blowing.
man, I'm seeing a lot of shit from like these European artists, and it's insane, dude. The amount of shit that you see, it's just crazy. Like, like from when we started, how even before us, the styles of tattooing and like you said, the American traditional stuff, like all that stuff was huge. And then back when I started, anyway, things were basically kind of straightforward, and the styles of tattooing and everything, the whole industry has changed quite significantly, since I've started almost
Yeah,
15 years
you
ago,
can pretty
right?
much do anything now. If you
Yeah.
think of it, a tattoo artist can make that tattoo for you, and they can do it amazing, and it looks
Yeah.
fantastic with so much skill and precision. So really, the possibilities are endless on what you can do. So I think that's going to kind of lead to some weird trends where we're going to see some weird tattoos. Like I'm sure you've seen the audio tattoos that are just like these lines
Oh,
and these
yeah. Yeah.
stuff like that, and then you run your cell phone over it, and then it plays like a tone.
Does it even
Oh,
work?
that's ridiculous.
I don't even know if that works. I have no idea.
Apparently it does. I'm not really too interested in researching any more of that because to me, I'm like that's a trend. I mean, I like to create art that's beautiful that you look at and you're like, oh, that's a beautiful piece of art on someone's skin, and not just like kind of a gimmicky thing like, oh, if you put your phone over this, it makes a sound.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't know.
without sounding douchey, I'm the same way, right? I try and push that on a lot of people too. A lot of my clients and people just saying, it's a beautiful piece of art. Walk around with that rather than something that's super cool on social media or
Yeah,
whatever.
what's trending on Pinterest right now? Well, let's get that
Yeah.
tattoo. It seems popular. Like, well, that doesn't mean anything to you really, because you're gonna look at what trended 20 years ago, like the tribal butterfly tramp stamp.
Yeah.
And like that was fucking cool back in the day. Like you were badass if you had one of those. But now it's like everyone's getting them covered up. They're like, oh my god, I can't believe I have a tramp stamp. So like trends are just exactly what they are. They're trends. They don't last very long. They're cool for a short period of time, and then people move on to other things, and they get attached to other things, and other things become popular and trendy. So I don't think anyone should ever get a tattoo just because it's cool right now. It should mean something to you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I've got bird shit tattooed on my shoulder, so who am I to talk about meaningful tattoos, right?
Yeah, well, hey man, dude, that probably means something to you. I would love to hear the
Nah,
story about bird shit on your shoulder. Please go
no,
on.
there's not really a story. It's just me and Jay one day, Jay Mackay, we just decided he wanted to tattoo bird shit. And I was like, all right, let's do it. We threw a piece of bird shit on my shoulder and away we go. So it
All
doesn't
right,
even look
well,
like shit anymore. It's just, well, it looks like shit. Just doesn't look like bird shit anymore. So,
more like a
yeah.
Rorschach test at this point, right?
Yeah. Jesus. What's your, what kind of machines you running these days? Are you running pens, coils? What are you doing?
Hands, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I'm the same way.
Yeah, every single artist in my studio uses pen machines. I resisted for a long time. I was one of those guys that was like hardcore. No, I was taught to use a coil machine with a big fat steel grip. I'm sticking with that forever. And I resisted and resisted, and then everyone was using them. All the best tattoo artists in the world were using them. So I'm like, well, might as well try this out and see if I can make it work for me. So now I'm running a FK Irons Scion pen,
Yep.
as well as a Cheyenne Hawk pen.
Yeah, so I'm running the what's it, the Sol Nova. I had the Zion, yeah, the FK Irons. I was running that one, and the Sol Nova. I think that's a short little fat one. I think that's what it's called. I really like that thing, man. They it's helped with my my carpal tunnel with my hands.
Yeah.
Like that, it's helped with a lot of shit, man. And when I actually jumped over from coils, I think the first rotary machine I jumped over was the Halo one, a gold one.
Oh yeah.
And it was actually at Unique Ink, and I started shading with it and coloring with it, and you know, it was great. I loved it. It was amazing, but I just couldn't bring myself to lining with it, and I just didn't think that it hit hard for some reason, hard enough, I guess. And then one day I just said, fuck it. I just packed away all my coil machines and I broke it out. I stuffed my liner in there, and
Made
you
it
know,
work.
I made it work. And actually I
Yeah.
got used to it. And I went back one day to a coil, and holy shit, it was like I was holding a brick in my hand, and I was so uncomfortable. I actually started sweating, and I was just like, I'm fucking nervous to do this. And I don't want to jack this tattoo, even though I've already been tattooing for 10 years. I was like, shit, man. But they've changed the game for sure. These pens.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of how rotaries have changed everything. I like the efficiency of a rotary machine. It's consistent. It's always the same. You never have to worry about it. I don't miss tuning my coil machines at all.
No, not at all.
No, I enjoy just going, here's my machine. It's going to do exactly what I know it's going to do every single time. Rad. Put it in, click, away we go. And yes, it definitely helps with the strain on the wrist, and everything about it's much more efficient than a coil machine. And that's not to say that a coil machine can't do a good job, because it's not necessarily the tool that's creating the tattoo, but how the artist uses the tool. So I still see people banging out amazing tattoos with coil machines. And I think I'd like to go back and just have a fun time and bust out all my coil machines and start tattooing with them just for, you know, a week to see how it feels, and just kind of be reminiscent of, oh yeah, this is where I came from. I used to do tattoos like this all the time.
Fuck, it was scary for me, man. Totally scary. You do you have a lot of clients asking you for like numbing agents and shit?
I don't, but I definitely hear that get thrown around a lot in the studio and online and stuff like that. And I see ads popping up for it on my Instagram all the time,
Yeah.
the numbing stuff. And well, obviously I think it's ridiculous. You shouldn't use a numbing agent to get a tattoo if you can't go through with the process of getting a tattoo and you can't endure the pain. I mean, you shouldn't earn the tattoo.
Mhm.
You know, I've had a lot of tattoo work done on me in some real painful spots, and I've earned every single one of them. I use every once in a while. I use a painkiller like a perk or tramadol or something. If I'm getting my ribs tattooed, it really sucks. So I'm not afraid to use a little bit of painkiller, but for the most part, I find the best way to deal with pain is the mental preparation. Going, all right, I know I'm going into this tattoo. I'm going to be here all day. It's going to really hurt. I just got to be mentally prepared. And I let my body do the rest of the work. I let my endorphins come and the adrenaline come. And I find I deal with pain so much better that way than with external help, you know, like a pain pill or something like that. Definitely no to numbing sprays or numbing creams. I will use some like Bactine on people to kind of get them through their session, but numbing
I'm not
creams
gonna
are,
lie, I've used it for sure. I've definitely used it. I don't find that they help too much, and they don't help too long either. Like with me with my car accident with my back and stuff like that, I went in to get my back done, and I honestly didn't know how I would sit, because you could like poke my back with your finger, and you know, I would fucking jolt, and you know, it was painful. So I mean, I didn't know what to expect, so I just said fuck it, I'm gonna numb it out. And it
how'd that
lasted
go?
it was okay. It lasted a little bit, and then it wore off, and then just like anything else, right? Like all the pain was there, you know, and it just fucking punched me in the face, man. And it was it didn't feel nice once it wore off. And
Yeah, see, it's a double-edged sword, right? Like it works for a
yeah,
little bit, but inevitably it's gonna wear off at some point, and then oh man, then exactly, it feels like you're getting hit by a train.
yep. It's a mental thing, I think. Like you know what I mean? They do hurt. Certain places, I should say, do hurt. And but again, like you said, it's a mental thing, preparing for it and shit like that. But it's so like once you're in the chair, you know, it's a back and forth thing, you know, like once your body has kind of said, okay, you know what, like it's time to piss off now. It's starting to hurt, you know, your body's taken over. Then all of a sudden, you know, 10 minutes later, you've trained your mind to say, you know what, okay, I got this. And it's good for another half an hour. And it's a big back and forth thing, right? It's a big fight.
Yeah, yeah,
And
absolutely.
I just think sometimes numbing agents, like the sprays, like the painkiller, or you know, what's that other shit there, the hustle helper and all that stuff. I think when
Yeah.
I'm doing a big piece on somebody, I think to make my job easier, or even if it's me using it, the artist tattooing me, make the job easier for them. So you're not fucking squirming when you get to that point, you know, the point of no return, basically, where it really hurts, right? It just makes our job easier sometimes. That's my
Oh
opinion
no,
anyway.
hey man, I'm not downplaying the role of certain numbing agents, because we're kind of in the business of pain management, dealing with our
Yeah.
clients. We have to be. I mean, you can't attack someone's skin like you're carving a piece of wood or you're painting on a canvas, because they're gonna feel every little thing that you do. And when you are doing realistic tattoos or very large projects, people are going to be in a lot of pain all day long, and it's our job to get them through that and to make sure that they're not moving around so that their tattoo looks the way that it should look. So yeah, I use all sorts of stuff for helping people deal with pain. Whether it's Bactine, I can spray that on whenever I want, and it takes a little bit of the edge off to get them through. I also use something called Nothing, made by H2 Ocean, and
H2O. Yeah.
yeah, and that stuff works really good too, just to kind of keep the skin calm and getting too puffy and too swollen, because that can cause a lot of pain too. If you're doing it for hours and hours on end. But it's the numbing cream specifically that I have a problem with, because it creates this false sense of security with people, where you're like, oh, I'm gonna put this numbing cream on, I'm not gonna feel a thing, it's gonna be awesome, I'm just gonna lie there and it's gonna happen, I'm gonna have my tattoo. But it's gonna wear off eventually, and it's or it could affect the process of the tattoo. You could swell, you could bleed, it could affect the ink, the way the ink takes. So I don't agree with using those at all. But other little things to help people along, absolutely. I'm not completely sadistic and interested in torturing people.
Yeah, no, I get it. I find too with some of the creams out there, they turn people's skin kind of leathery, to be honest with you. That's what I find.
Yeah, yeah, I've definitely experienced that. The skin puffs up and has this weird texture to it, and I've seen people bleed like crazy, like they shouldn't be bleeding like that because of the numbing cream. So I had a couple of experiences with it early on in my career, and they were all bad. So I said, nope, never again, not going to do it. And I also believe in the ritual of tattooing, like the traditional ritual of, you're overcoming this pain, you're overcoming this obstacle, and the tattoo is the reward. It's the result of this mountain that you've just climbed, and this marathon that you've just run, and there's your reward. It's there forever. The pain is there to remind you that this is a permanent thing that you're doing. Once you
Mhm.
get through this, it's not going away. So I
Right,
like to achieve things, in a very traditional way with my own tattoos.
right. Okay, makes sense for sure. So, like, where do you see this tattoo industry going, man, in the next, like, say, 10 years, 20 years? What's your thoughts on that stuff? Where would
Oh
you
well,
like to see the industry go?
man, I can't predict the future. I have no idea really where it's going to go. I can only make an assumption based on what I've seen in the last 20 years, that is we're just going to keep moving forward, and it's going to keep becoming more and more popular, and people are going to try keep pushing the limits and see what else they can do. But I think deep down people have this true love and appreciation for art, and it really shows in tattoo artwork. That people love art, and they will
Yeah.
continue to appreciate art, especially on this individual level where you can express yourself through art and through tattoos. So I don't see this. I guess I'll call it a movement. I don't see this
Mhm.
movement slowing down at all. I
Yeah, that
see
brings
more
me
tattoos.
yeah, it brings me to my next question essentially is you know, do you see it dying down at all anytime, or, you know, getting bigger? You think the tattoo industry right now is basically thriving, or do you think it's starting to die off a little bit?
Oh, absolutely thriving.
Yeah.
Absolutely thriving. I've always had this kind of theory in my mind that tattoos could be recession proof. Like we could kind of get through anything and the industry will stay alive. And I'm still tattooing all the time. I see all my artists in my studio tattooing all the time. Everyone's posting on Instagram all the time. Even with the pandemic happening and a lot of places getting shut down, there's still that that real strong desire for people wanting to get tattooed. I mean, it's making me want to get tattooed now more than I ever have.
Mhm.
So I don't see it slowing down. I see it continuing on. It's like getting bigger, expanding more and more. I think it's an unstoppable movement. But I mean, I could be wrong.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, hopefully
So,
not, right?
yeah. So speaking of this pandemic, you're not in the red zone, are you? Like you're still open, right?
Yep. No, I'm in a red zone. I'm
Oh,
not
you
in a
are.
shut. Yeah, I'm not in a shutdown zone, but I am in a red
Oh,
zone.
okay.
Because I'm in Durham region. And that's considered part of like the Greater Toronto area. It's not Toronto itself, but a lot of the areas around the Toronto city are in red zones. But we're still operating. We haven't changed anything since we first opened up. We were pretty well equipped with our protocols and our procedures to just continue on. We're appointment based. We always have been. So no one can come in without an appointment, and we just screen everyone, and we wear masks, and we disinfect our surfaces just a little bit more now than we ever
Hmm.
did, and we just record everyone that comes in.
But
It's
you like being like, say from being in like orange or whatever, yellow, going to red and not having a shutdown red zone. Are they requiring you guys to have anything different? No, just kind of do what you were doing, like you said.
Well, because we're a small studio, like a lot of the big restrictions were like how many people can you have in a space so that you maintain distance. Like, well, we have a small studio with a limited amount of artists, and we never really had a ton of room for people to just come and hang out there. So it's just one artist per booth and one client per artist, and artists have staggered their days, so it's not like we have all six artists working at the same time. That's a very rare situation nowadays. Um, so really, things haven't changed too much for us.
Yeah. Well, my shop's all open concept, right? So we have
Mine too.
is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing here. I mean, I think we're in like the orange zone or whatever. So it's basic shit again, the disinfecting thing, the mask thing, and appointment based, and nobody's allowed to come in essentially if you're not getting tattooed, right? So we just do we're doing, as much as I hate doing it and have hated doing it in the past, I'm kind of doing as what I can to do an online consultation. Um Worst case scenario, I'll have them come to the shop. We'll just meet them outside because it's in a plaza, right? And just kind of social distance, I guess, outside, and just kind of shoot the shit with them and bring my tablet out and, jot down some notes and do what we can, right?
Yeah,
But
I think it's pretty easy for a lot of tattoo artists to operate their businesses pretty much the way that they've always been, with minimizing things like online consultations. Yeah, that's super easy to do. I have a lot of my clients on Instagram that I can just chat with them, or if I really need them to come into the studio, I'll just make an appointment for them to come in real quick for a tracing, and that's it.
yeah, no, I'm hoping this shit's all over at some point. And,
Well, I think we
I
all
personally,
are. It's going to be over real soon.
yeah, yeah. I don't know, like myself, I personally think we are going to get shut down again too. Um, hopefully not, but I think it's coming, but,
Well, I just try to look on the positive side, and I just want to keep working and
yeah.
keep the shop open. And I can just hope for the best. And
Are you,
so far, we've been okay.
well, that's good, man. So you still doing like a lot of paintings and stuff? You're doing a lot of, I see you're doing mostly digital stuff now, but are you still sticking with brush and stuff like that too?
Yeah, a lot of the traditionalists will probably condemn me for saying this, but I've gone pretty much full iPad.
Yeah, I know, I know, me too.
I never really liked painting. I gotta be honest. I mean, I've done a whack load of painting before in my life, but I never really, found peace and tranquility in painting. Like, I know you're supposed to like, oh, this is super calming and relaxing. I never found that. I always found I was like struggling to achieve an effect with painting, and stressed out about it. I was like, oh, I'm just trying to get this done. I just wanted to get it done. I didn't enjoy the process. So when I switched over to the iPad and I have all these options of all these different styles that I can play with, if I want to airbrush, if I want to acrylic paint, if I want to do like comic book style sketching with inks and pencil crayons, like, man, I can do it all with the iPad. And I actually truly enjoy the process of creating art on the iPad and the versatility of being able to take it anywhere and do all these different styles. So I've gone full tech with my
Yeah.
artwork, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, I find the whole, like you said, the peace and tranquility thing. I actually get that from tattooing,
Yeah.
and like I said, I think it was again the last podcast I had, and I've obviously said this before to people was, tattoos have never failed me, man. Like, or tattooing, I should say, has never failed me. Whether you're down and out, you feel depressed, you got the anxiety going, or you're pissed off, whatever. When you get to work and you have that machine in your hand, and I think no matter if there's you know metal cranked in the background or hip hop or whatever it is, you kind of zone it out, man, and you kind of just tattoo, and then you shoot the shit with your client, man. And I found that is where I find peace for the most part, man. And I'm a very fucking high strung person, man. I'm like, raw, I'm very in your face, right? And I think that kind of mellows me out too, so
Yeah, oh, that really resonates with me, man. I feel exactly the same way. When I was stuck at home for 3 months back in March there, and I wasn't able to do the art of tattooing, I was really getting a little crazy. By the end of it, I thought I completely insane because I missed tattooing so much. I think the art of doing the tattoo is just as therapeutic for us as it is for the client getting.
absolutely, man.
Because, man, I feel so in the zone. I mean, artists, musicians, like, they talk about this zone, and you pretty much just said it there. You feel like a complete sense of calm, and you tune out everything else around you, and it's just you and the process, and you're creating that art, and nothing else matters, and it feels like bliss for
Yeah,
me doing a tattoo. So I agree with that 100%.
nice. Do you ever with your shop, do you ever plan on opening a second location? You want to expand, or you just want to stay small, or
I've been asked that before. I don't have any intentions of opening up another studio. I'm not into creating multiple studios and a monopoly on tattooing, or I opened my studio with the intent of having a private studio just for me. Like, I just wanted to have a space where I could create art and nothing else mattered. Now that didn't work out the way that I had intended it, and now there's a bunch of artists working with me, and I'm very, very thankful that it worked out the way that it did. But I'm not planning on going crazy and doing a bunch of different studios with my name attached to it. I like that everyone in the studio kind of has the same prerogative and the same ethos and they want to do good art on people, and that's it, and they want to be around good people with a positive vibe. So that whole like positive vibe in the shop is what I really want to maintain. If I could maintain that and like slowly expand that while maintaining that vibe and that original idea of why I started it, then I'd be happy with that. Just simple stuff.
yeah, no, I feel the
What
same
about
way.
you, man?
Well, I have a business partner, like I said, so I can't say I don't really know what his thoughts are. I do, but I don't. And that's him, right? Like, me personally, I'm not there all the time, right? Like I said, I'm only there a few days a week, and I'm doing other stuff on the side as well, right? But even if I wasn't, I would probably, if I was just tattooing and not doing any podcasting, not doing anything else, I would be there 4 or 5 days a week, and do the one tattoo a day, because I don't really do small little bangers anymore. Um, I get requests to do them still, obviously, but I mainly like to do pieces that will take me, 5, 6 hours, so I don't think so, man. I think I would personally rather just have the one studio, and a smaller studio, but there's definitely nothing wrong with having a bigger studio and having artists work for you. My artists are amazing, and we have a lot of fun, having people work with you and working side by side with each other. It's fun, and it's again, brings you back to the whole mental health thing, man. It takes your mind and it puts it somewhere else, so you're not sitting there in your own fucking wormhole, and you're tattooing, you're behind that machine. You've got the artists, and it's just a good environment, and that's what I find anyway. So
Yeah, like the environment is the most important thing, and if you expand too quickly, it can disrupt that vibe and that environment, and that's something that I hold really sacred to me. So I wouldn't want to put that in jeopardy by going, oh well, I could make some more money if I open another studio, but I could also risk losing what I have right now, and it's
Right.
not worth it to me. I've got everything that I could ever want, and all I want to do is just keep tattooing. That's
Mhm.
all I care about. So I don't need to. I don't have any grandiose ideas of going bigger, and I feel what you're saying on that one. I want to be around my people that make me feel happy, and the shop that I have right now with the people that I have, I just want to keep that thing going for as long as I can. And if it evolves, if it grows, then it'll happen naturally. I'm not going to try to force it.
Yeah. No, I get it, man. I can back that one for sure.
Shit, I want to hear about how things have been going for you up in Barrie. Like we could maybe like reminisce about some of the old Lucky Devil days and
Yeah, man,
some of the
absolutely.
crazy shit that went on in that shop.
Oh fuck. What hasn't gone on in that shop? I'm actually interviewing Brock right after this.
Really?
He messaged me this morning at like fucking 8 o'clock. And I was like, all right, I guess I don't know how he was up so early, but I've got kids, so he knew I was up. And
Man, I miss that guy. I love Brock.
Brock's awesome, man. I think he's running Steel and Ink on Bayfield Street up in
Oh
front of the
shit.
Walmart.
Okay.
Yeah, so like we don't do piercings at my shop, right? So he's every piercing that comes in, we just send them over there to him, and I just know Brock's history. I know he's a really good piercer. I know he's very clean. He's very sterile. And he's pierced my daughter's ears when she was a baby. Again, back at the Devil days. I'm sure you still hear her screaming to this day when she was 1. But Barry is fuck. What do I say, man? I don't know. What I can say. Barry's Barry. Barry's
Hasn't changed.
it hasn't fucking changed. It's just gotten a little
Yeah.
bit bigger and more drugs. It seems the downtown core is really bad. There's I've had actually a few friends pass away from overdoses or what's that shit there that people are spiking their shit with. Whatever anyway, you know what I'm talking about. I can't remember the name of it.
No.
But fentanyl or carfentanil, whatever the fuck it is.
Fentanyl. Yeah.
That trash. I had a few friends pass from that, and it's just nuts, man. And even like people with tattooing in Barrie, there's a lot of shops here, man. More than I'd like there to be here. But there's some very good tattoo artists in this city, man. Really good ones,
I know a couple of shops. Your shop is obviously the pinnacle because I know you guys the most, but I know there's a few other ones. Is it Brick and Mortar?
Brick and Mortar. That's Cody and fuck, his name's on the tip of my tongue. Anyways, that's Cody's shop, and yeah, man, they're doing good for themselves as far as I know. I don't really speak to Cody very much, and I'd actually like to sit and chat with him on a podcast for sure.
Well, yeah, I hear people that come down and get tattooed by me from Barrie. They say, "Oh, well, there's no real good shops in Barrie." I'm like, I tend to disagree with that because I know a couple of artists that do some really good work up in Barrie. So yeah. I'm wondering if the reason why they're saying there's no good shops in Barrie is because of maybe the oversaturation of the shops.
Dude, and it just lots of times. And I think the same thing,
right?
The oversaturation, and there's again, I'm not going to name names or anything, but there's some shops that are here that I don't agree with that they don't need to be here. They need to go back and learn from step one, but their heads are probably this big and they probably think, fuck that, I'm better than that. I don't need to go back from, not necessarily step one, but take a few steps back and realize what they're doing wrong or revisit their art. And I'm a firm believer you can be a great tattoo artist, but if you can't design a good tattoo and if it doesn't make sense on paper, it's not going to make sense on the skin essentially. Do you get what I'm saying by that?
Well, I think what you're trying to get at is that your art foundations have to be there before you can be a skilled, talented tattoo artist. You have to be a talented artist first.
Yeah, of course.
That's often the problem that I come across when I'm talking to young artists that want to become tattoo artists. They're like, yeah, I want to be a tattoo artist. Can I get an apprenticeship? And like, they show me their portfolio or whatever work they have. And I'm like, that's great that you want to be a tattoo artist, but you need to build your foundations on art first before you go into that. And those are the people that inevitably, they may get frustrated with trying to find an apprenticeship and they just may order some stuff online and open up their own shops. And then you've got more shops popping up all over the place where they're like what you're saying, like you shouldn't be tattooing right now because you're not ready for it. And I think that's happening all over the place. I see it happen in Durham region too. There's a ton of shops in Oshawa and you're just like, I don't even know where these shops are coming from and how there's even that many people available to get tattooed in that area in the first place. But I also think that evolution will kind of, take care of some of the shops that shouldn't be operating, and the cream will rise to the top. And shops like yours that you really care about the artwork and the quality of the work that you're doing. Those are the shops that are going to continue to be successful and rise above.
Yeah, there's actually I think it was a while ago, probably fuck 6 months ago. There was on Brit saying it was on her Facebook, and somebody actually said that. She made the comment back. Somebody said that there was really no good artists in Barrie, and I know that she weighed in, and she argued that fact. And I was like, kudos to you, man, because there is good artists here, and
sure.
they stand out. But like you said, man, I think it's the oversaturation of artists, and shops are constantly popping up here. Like even recently, man, fucking shops are popping up. I'm like, who the hell is this artist? And like, then I'm on Instagram, I'm trying to search their work, and I'm looking for the shop. And I'm like, where the hell is this thing? Because I remember a few years back when I was at Unique, when it was me and Chris and Jay, and we were trying to move from one corner to another that was 100 fucking feet away across the street, and it was such
and you were blocked
fight
by
to
a
get over there.
bylaw, right?
Yeah, we got blocked by the
Yeah.
bylaw, and like we beat that. We beat the city, we beat we beat everything, and we got to open. But yet, there's places just popping up everywhere, and it's like, how is the city letting this happen? Like, I don't know. I don't know if it's if it's just Barrie or if this is everywhere. No idea.
Oh man, it's everywhere. There's some places where bylaws are in place like that, but they don't seem to be really enforcing them. I originally looked at Oshawa for opening my studio, and I remember all the bylaw shit happening in Barrie. So I thought about that in Oshawa, and I looked into it, and yeah, lo and behold, there was a bylaw. It's pretty the same thing. You're not allowed to open tattoo shops, pawn shops, cash converter shops, all in the same area. So I'm like, I'm not going to risk it. There's too many shops here already. So I went to a place where there was hardly any shops, and I opened my studio. But I think we're going to see those more and more of those bylaws getting enforced because people are going to start complaining. Like, why is there nothing but tattoo on this street when there could be other businesses that could be opening that provide more for the community? We don't need 50 tattoo shops in downtown Barrie.
No, we don't. That's for sure.
You don't need that.
What gets me is like the tattoo shops, they say they don't want them near the cash places and like all this other shit. What's the, but they allow them beside all the bars, like they allow so many fucking bars. You know what I mean? Like I get there's a big, I don't know what you call it or whatever, but big market in, alcohol and food and entertainment business and stuff.
Well, there used to be.
Anyway.
I don't know about the future.
Yeah, right. Shit. But yeah, like that stuff was thriving. But does Barrie actually need, 10 nightclubs on one fucking strip downtown? I doubt it.
Yeah, well, now we're talking about like city infrastructure and
stay out of politics, right? Let's.
Yeah, I mean, now we're a rabbit hole that we probably shouldn't. But I think we could go back to kind of the point of like everyone opening up shops and not being ready to open up shops. I think that the tattoo industry is just such a lucrative industry that everyone wants to get their hands in that industry right now. And if you have any sort of like enjoyment that you get out of creating art, you could be like, oh yeah, this is my ticket out of here. I'm gonna get rich on being a tattoo artist. And it's so easy to access the equipment and create your online presence with your Instagram page for your shop and just run a shop out of your kitchen and stuff like that. It's so easy to do. But that being said, think about the kind of people that are going to get tattooed by these, uneducated tattoo artists. They're not the kind of clients that we had.
So do you think like I've been wondering this for years and probably saying this for years. Do you think we should be able to be licensed as professional tattoo artists?
I think that'd be pretty cool to have a legitimate trade and be recognized as a legitimate trade and kind of regulate ourselves and regulate our own industry.
Yeah, I think it was it George Brown or Matt Ellis, one of the two. I think they created a union a while back. I don't know if it's still around or if they did anything with it.
That was definitely making a lot of waves. About 6-8 years ago, they started doing that thing where they wanted to have licenses for Toronto tattoo artists, and I think it actually went somewhere, and I think they actually got like licensing in place for people. But then it just kind of it died off. I think people lost interest in it. I think it could be a really good thing to kind of go back to doing licensing and putting a little bit more restrictions on some of these things, like shops just popping up left, right, and center, and make it so that you have to be able to pass some sort of a qualification test, like say, yeah, I know about bloodborne pathogens. I have a X amount of years of training behind me. I can attest to I'm a qualified individual that can do tattoos.
I think that the bloodborne pathogen is mandatory. That should be fucking mandatory no matter what. But I also think like with this licensing thing, I'm not going to say it'll get rid of kitchen tattoo artists or basement
not
artists.
100%, but it could be a deterrent.
Yeah, but you can also say lay a fine if they get caught, right? I mean, I don't know if that's something that artists would be interested in seeing happen.
There's fines right now for that stuff too, because a lot of the kitchen wizards, they'll operate without a business license. And right there, if you operate without a business license, you can be shut down and fined and that sort of thing if you don't have health board approval. And
taking money and not paying taxes and so on and so forth too, right?
Yeah, and I really think we should be more like our health board should be more involved with tattoo artists and working with them a little bit more, so that when they get called to go to these sort of places, and I know that they do, you can get anonymous tips and say, hey, so and so is operating out of their house. They can go and check up on them. You shouldn't be, giving them a health board pass if they're owning their own studio in their house without proper zoning in place for that. It should be regulated a little bit more, but it should be also, there should be some talk amongst people in the industry that are well established too. They should have a lot of control and say over how these regulations are going to be put into place. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Me neither, man. Oh. Me neither. But do you still talk to anybody from Lucky Devil?
Not really. I mean, I know Brian still follows me. I know he's still working there. Yeah. He followed me on Instagram, and I think Joe, the owner, I think he still follows me too and watches what I do. I wouldn't say that I'm like super friendly and I talk with them, but I have nothing against them. I think they're great guys.
Yeah, no. I just didn't know if you're like still communicating, like still friends, or still hang out with any of them, meet up with any of them, or because I remember you weren't you in a band with Brian or something at some point?
Yeah, we were the Ion
Plague. Yeah. Fuck, I still got my shirt, bud.
Oh man, those were the good old days when I considered myself a rock star.
Yeah. Fuck.
But yeah, no, I gave up all that the music stuff, and I haven't really talked to too many of them, but not like I would be opposed to having a beer with anyone from that shop.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. Like I said, that's that was part of the best time of my tattooing career was working at that shop with everybody, and that's how I basically got into it. I mean, I was already tattooing before I got there, but not really tattooing. You get what I'm saying? But
yeah. I have a lot of really good memories from being in that shop. Oh, and of course I forgot Jesse. I mean, I'm still like Jesse's my
James. You're his dad, he said.
Yeah, he's my son. Yeah. I got a key to his house out in Canmore. I can go there whenever I want.
Yeah, he's good shit, man. I love that dude, man. He's got he's got his family. He's a good man. He's a good dad now. So that's good. Yeah. He's doing good for himself. So everybody's growing up now, eh?
Well,
kind of.
Depends on what you mean by growing up.
Well, I mean, they're adulting a little bit, here and there, right? Like me with the kids and, being a shop owner, you being married and shop owner, got your shit together, Jesse with kids. And
yeah, we were definitely all wet behind the ears when we were all at Lucky Devil at the same time. And we didn't really know what we were doing. We just knew that we were having a lot of fun doing it and we didn't want it to stop.
No, I know, man. Nightclubs, beers, fucking shots, strip clubs, you name it. It was a lot of drugs.
Well, yeah, and it gets to a point where you're like, I can't keep doing this. This is a lot of fun, but it's like, it's too much fun.
Yeah, I know. I've got a lot of memories that I don't remember, I guess you could say, right? I remember like, hey, man, we're working up to this. We going to the club? Yeah, we're at the strip club. That's all I fucking remember. 20 shooters later. Yeah, Andrew's out for the count, fucking sleeping in the shop at 4 a.m. and drooling all over the fucking massage tables. Yeah.
And then you do it all again the next day.
Yeah. You say an hour later, I'm never doing this again. Yet here you are fucking ripping a joint, snorting a line, and fucking have a beer in your hand,
Well,
the next day.
That was the big problem with getting paid mostly in cash and being on the street corner where there was also like 30 bars within walking distance.
Yeah, back to the bars talk, eh? Fuck. Jesus. Yeah, I don't like, man, I don't see like it's crazy from like back then in those days, 13, 14, 15 years ago when the industry was what it was back then to what it is now. I mean, I know it's bigger now, but it just seems so much better than before. I enjoyed it more, and I don't know if it's because I was new to it and I was so hungry, like I was hungrier then than I am now, I guess you could say, because I've already got it, right? I've got, I don't have it, but I have more experience. So I'm not as hungry as what I was when I first started. So I don't know if that's why I liked it back then more, or if it's, just gotten bigger, but not better. I don't know.
I don't know. I think that's just like that's a natural progression. That's a
Hmm.
natural evolution. You have a different perspective on what tattooing is now versus what it was then,
Yeah, true.
and how you look at it is
Hmm.
is going to be different now that you have different parameters in your life too, and it's going to mean something different to you now. Um, I don't know if it's gotten better or worse, or I don't even want to put a designation on it. I just know that I still love it, and I need
Absolutely.
I need it in my life, and it means a lot to me, and it means just as much to me now as it did back then. That fact hasn't changed for me.
The good thing is too is no matter what happens, we can always go somewhere and be an artist. As long as we have a
Yeah.
machine and proper setups and stuff or whatever. That's the one good thing about tattooing, man. It's one of the perks. You're an artist. Like you said, it's a lifestyle. I've been saying
Now,
that for years. It's not a
I
career.
want
It's a fucking lifestyle.
I want to ask you something too, because you're saying you can go anywhere, and as long as you have a machine in the setup, you can be the artist there. Would you be as satisfied, like, say there was a say there was a solar flare, and it knocked out all of our electronics, and we're no longer able to have a power grid or electronics, and all your batteries die in your cordless machines. So now you have no way of running a tattoo machine. Would you be just as satisfied to say, hey, I'm being an artist and you're creating art with whatever, if you get your old school paintbrushes out and you start painting things, or you go so far as to create primitive tattooing tools and you do like hand poke tattoos on people? Would you think you could be just as satisfied creating art outside of the realm of using an electronic tattoo machine?
Um, I wouldn't know until it actually happened, right? Like I'm not opposed to, grabbing a couple sticks, throwing some needles on them and start fucking poking people. I'm
Hmm.
sure they're gonna look like shit, but would I get the same satisfaction? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like if I knew I could pick that up and just do it, knowing that the solar flare didn't happen and our electronics are still here, I'm sure I would like it, but no matter what, I'm still gonna be, mentally I'm still going to be over there knowing that I'm going to pick up my machine again, right? But
Hmm.
um at the end of the day, no matter what, I would still be painting and doing that kind of shit, right? It's I would still love it. I would still appreciate it and stuff, right? I think I'd be obviously bummed out. Hey, there's no electronics, you know. I can't go in the washroom, take a selfie, and then go back and sit behind my tattoo machine. It just doesn't, I don't know. We're fucking spoiled, man. We're
Yeah.
spoiled, with everything going on these days, and that's it. Just led me to that, right? Was the whole electronics thing if it was wiped out, right? Because we couldn't really do well, we couldn't do tattoos the way we do them these days. We wouldn't have the cell phones to take a pic, all that other shit, right? Like right now, look at our online portfolios. I don't even think I have a book with pictures in it anymore, like an actual physical portfolio. Not that we use them right now
Well,
with the pandemic,
yeah,
but
but you simply don't need a physical copy of your work right now. Everyone's
no,
using on portfolios.
yeah.
Um, but I don't
How
know.
would you feel, man? How would you feel without any electronics, man? Would you still be satisfied too, or you just think you'd roll with the punches, or what do you think?
Well, I think that art is so ingrained in myself, and I know it's the same for you and any tattoo artist. It's such an ingrained part of our personality and who we are that no matter what happens, you're going to find a way to create art.
Hmm.
Um, whether you need to smash up some plants together and like make some sort of colored material and paint on cave walls, or hand poke tattoos like the original human beings used to do. Art is something that is always going to be there no matter what.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I really enjoy the technological aspect of how tattooing has come right now and how easy it is for us to create that art.
But
And I
it's, see,
enjoy,
like you said, it's too easy sometimes, even with these fucking
yeah,
kitchen wizards, right? And going on eBay,
really,
grabbing a machine and, all this other shit. Like, dude, I don't know how it is where you're at, but you can go to the pawn shops here, and you go in and there's literally tattoo kits sitting right there, fucking used, bud.
yeah.
You
And
know?
let's be clear here. We're not upset that people are attempting to become artists and to
No, no,
further
no.
themselves with
Just do it
art.
properly.
It's a dangerous thing to be involved with someone's like health aspects of breaking the skin
Hmm.
and like doing tattoos has a medical connotation as well. I think that's why a lot of people get upset. You're going into something that you need some training for, and you're being reckless with that. If you want to create art
Absolutely.
and you want to practice and you want to actually be a tattoo artist, there's a proper way to do that without endangering someone's health.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree 100%, man. And and I think some people even might think, oh, I don't want to take the proper procedures. I don't want to do an apprenticeship, this and that, and that might scare some people too. I don't know. Like apprenticeships these days, I don't think are as hard as they were back then, 20
No,
years ago, 15 years ago. Like we've had, I've had a few apprentices the last like 5 years, man. And, they turned out to be great artists. They do their style, they do their thing. They did their apprenticeship. They did what I asked, and they held up their end just like I did, and super proud of them. But that being said, they didn't go through what I went through. They didn't go through what you went through, and it's changed, man, the apprenticeships.
When you did your mentoring and you did your teaching with your apprentices, did you make that aware to them? You're like, hey, just so you know, like I had to go through all of these steps and
Absolutely.
I got treated like shit, and it
Fucking
was
right,
it
bud.
was a long time before I got to do tattoos on people, and I had it real hard, and you have it real easy. So just so you know, like you make them aware of it, right? Like
Absolutely.
this is a little bit of like a history lesson of like where I came from, and now I'm passing it on to you so that you don't have to go through the hardships, and maybe you can learn a little bit more efficiently now, but respect that this is what an apprenticeship was.
Well, that's just it. Respect it, right? Like when I'm saying the spoiled, I don't mean that they are ungrateful. Not it at
Mhm.
all. I just think that because it's so different, and you get, the times are different with people being offended by things and stuff like that. You got to be easier on people. You got to tread waters lightly, essentially, with pretty much anything you fucking do these days. Um, it carries over into the apprenticeships, man. And I just think that they're a little pampered. Like I don't do that kind of shit to my apprentices now that I went through, because you kind of can't these days, right? So I don't know like, I can't
But
speak
I mean,
for every artist out there.
but you could have also made the choice to be hard on them and go, all right, I'm going to give you a traditional apprenticeship. I'm going to treat you the same way that I was treated. You could have gone
You're
down that road,
absolutely right, but I don't
but you
think.
chose not to. You chose
Right.
to go on the side of like education, or like I want to
Mhm.
focus on educating you and teaching you how to be a tattoo artist, not that part of the apprenticeship that you went through that was just like demeaning you and making you understand your place.
Yeah. Well, for me, I look at it like, you're there and I'm there to teach you how to fucking tattoo. I'm not there to belittle you, even though sometimes I should, but not because I want to be a piece of shit or something, or just, have that sense of entitlement. But it's more or less like you said, like this is how things were back then, and you kind of need that little kick in the pants to remind you, like, appreciate and respect what you have, right? Don't fucking kiss my toes. I'm just the one that's willing to do it, because I like when I train somebody or teach them what I know, I want them to be better than what I am,
Mm-hmm.
and like
Yeah.
whether it's this, they take on my style or not, right? Like I've had a few apprentices, or a couple apprentices I should say, that do American traditional, and it's I just want them to be good. I want them, I see it in them, just like every other artist that takes on an apprentice. I see it in them. I respect that person. I want them to respect me, the art, everything else. And
Yeah.
I'll teach them, I'll get them going. All I ask in return is if stick with me for a year or so afterwards, right? And hang out and stuff. And after that, go take your wings, fucking go, fly away, go and
Yeah.
enjoy
It,
your
it
career, travel.
it sounds like you have the same approach to mentorship that I do.
Yeah.
We're pretty much exactly the same approach. Like you just want to give them the tools to be able to do what, you know, we do, and what you wanted to do when you were in that position as well, when you wanted to get into this industry. It was so hard to do. And it's good to be able to give someone the opportunity to do that and have them earn that.
Yeah. Well, it makes you feel good too, right? Like like me as a mentor, it makes me feel good knowing that you know, somebody looks up to me, and in the industry, not kids. I'm saying, you know, in the industry, they look up to me, and they respect me and my art, you know, and my skill enough to trust me to teach them the rest of their life. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
it's good, man. I don't know. I just find it's just different these days, a lot different, you know, with
And
apprenticeships.
that's the thing that people that don't want to go through the apprenticeships, that's what they're missing out on. They're missing that respect for the industry and that bond with that mentor. And like they really are missing out. Like, yeah, it's scary to walk into a tattoo shop and bare your soul to that tattoo artist and say, here's my artwork, is it good enough to do this? It is scary, but you need to embrace that fear if you're gonna
Absolutely.
if you're gonna learn. Learning isn't
Yep.
supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be really, really hard. And if you're ready to embrace that fear and jump in, you're going to be rewarded for it. And I
Yep.
really encourage people that want to get into it, embrace that fear, try it out, talk to a tattoo artist, try to get an apprenticeship. And if they say no, then ask them why and figure out where you need to learn from, because you got to be always working towards learning more about your art. And if you're not ready for it, then you need to know that from an experienced artist. And
Yeah.
then ultimately you're gonna do something that you love, and you're gonna have a much more appreciation for it if you struggle for it.
Oh, I
Because
agree, man.
I struggled for it and I have a lot of respect for that struggle.
Yep. Yeah, me too, man. I remember back in the day when I got hired at the Devil Man, I showed up, and I think you were pretty much just finishing up with Jesse and Graham. I think who taught him? I think it was Anthony that taught him, right? I think
Yeah.
everybody was kind of all finishing up at the same time. Then I showed up, and it was just kind of like the three of us, kind of, you know, eye to eye with each other, all three of us, just kind of tattooing all in those two little boots, you know, jumping back and forth, and you know, you in the corner and Jay in the other corner and Mark. So it was fun times for sure. But I don't even remember if there's any apprentices back then either, like at the Devil when we were there. I don't remember. I'm not
Hmm.
sure
That's a good question.
because yeah, like I wasn't one. I kind of went under Jay's wing when I got there, but I know Jesse was like literally just finishing, and I think Graham just finished with Anthony as well, because Anthony left right before I got there too, right?
Mhm.
Anthony and Jen and all them, right?
No,
Femio was still there when I got there.
yeah, I think that was right on a cusp of a change of an era at Lucky Devil right there, because I was
The
trying to
move,
get in. Huh?
the move too, the move across the street.
Well, the move across the street pushed me out.
Yeah.
That that's what caused me to want to go elsewhere.
Mm,
But yeah, before I got in there, I don't know. I just kept trying to get in there because I had finished my apprenticeship years ago and they didn't have any space for me. So I can't
yeah.
remember if that was because they had apprentices or because they were full up with awesome artists, because they've always turned out amazing artists, and I still follow a lot of the artists that used to work there. I mean, Anthony's a good friend of mine, and I
Yeah.
still follow Jen Lyles and Andrew Warren, who's out on the West Coast now. I still follow his work, love his work. Sarah Scott, I believe, is still tattooing in Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I still follow all those artists. They're all fantastic.
Nice, man. Well, that's
So
cool.
we should be proud to be coming from that shop, because it turned
Oh,
out a
dude,
lot of good.
absolutely, man. Like I said, there's some relationships that you know, we don't that are kind of diminished. I do still speak with Jesse James every now and then. Not so much Graham anymore. Him and I were super close, but you know, he's doing his thing. Whatever. Like I said, everybody's adulting, right?
Yeah,
I still talk to you, and then you know, I had my part at Unique Ink with Jay. Mark, I'm not too sure. You know, Brock, I still talk to him. Brian,
actually, I still follow Mark too.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's it was at Lindsay. I think he's in Lindsay now. Cloak
yeah.
and
I'm
what
trying
is
to
it?
think.
Cloak and Dagger or Quill and Dagger or something? Quill and
Quill and
Dagger.
Quill
Quill
and
and
Hatchet.
Hatchet. Quill and Hatchet. There we go. I don't know what the hell I was thinking dagger for, and I don't know. Anyway,
it's
yeah,
just
he's
throw Dagger into any tattoo shop name and you could fucking hit a few.
yeah, yeah, I know. But yeah, man, like that shop, if it wasn't for that shop, man, I wouldn't be sitting here, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be tattooing. Probably like I might be tattooing, but I wouldn't have those fucking memories, man. And you know, that played a big part of my life, my tattooing life was that shop, you know,
Definitely. I fully agree, man. Like I felt like that's what launched my career
absolutely mine too,
was
man.
going.
Yeah. And look at everybody now, man. Everybody's you know, moved on, and even Lucky Devil themselves. Now they've got their wave of, you know, their artists, their batch of artists, and you know, they're doing their thing now. And all of us, we've moved on, and we've done something with ourselves, all of us.
Yeah, and I think those memories and those feelings that I have for that shop are kind of what I'm trying to replicate with my own studio. That fun vibe. Like I only hope that my shop could be that kind of a shop where that people come and they learn how to tattoo and they create bonds and friendships with everyone there that they're going to remember 20 years down the road like I have my memories about Lucky Devil. So I mean, I'm trying to model my shop kind of after the Lucky Devil. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
no,
want it to
that's
be positive and amazing.
yeah, no, of course, man. Um, so
So
yeah,
when
what
you have
else,
me up for a spot,
dude? You're welcome to come up anytime you want.
I would
Um,
love to. Would love to come and hang out with you guys for a few days and maybe
absolutely, man.
spend.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely get a piece done. You can, I'll take up one of your spots if you come up, if you don't mind.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Oh yeah, Gary, I better be tattooing you if I come there.
yeah, well, I'll give you a whole thigh. How about that?
Ooh, I love thigh pieces.
Yeah, I
Oh
know
yeah.
every artist does.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's your call. What I think I said this to you fucking 15 years ago when you tattooed my arm. I was like, "Hey man, I like your shit. Just do your thing." And you're like, well, give me some kind of fucking direction, idiot." And I was like, "Okay, evil." You're like, "A little bit more, you know, narrow it down." So, you know, to be honest with you, man, I really dig your work and I respect it. And
Thanks, dude.
I obviously trust you. And you know, we can sit and chat with whatever. I don't really care. I'm pretty easygoing. I just want you to enjoy the piece, and I know you will, and I know you're gonna knock it out of the park, man. And I just want I'll take it for sure. I'll take a piece. And even if you got pieces that you've already got done that you want to do really bad, fuck yeah, man. I'll be a canvas. I don't care.
All
For
right.
sure.
Well,
I would definitely appreciate it.
we'll chat off air about that, but I'm definitely into it. And I'd love to see what you guys got cooking up there in your shop and hang out with you guys for a little bit. I
Yeah,
guess
man.
still
I
got
can dig it.
I still got tons of friends up in Barrie. I still consider Barrie like my second home. I love coming back there and seeing how it's evolved and grown. And I
I
haven't been
think
really
I think you're like the only person that's ever said that you enjoy coming back here. Barry still
well
has that stigma.
because
People leave, they don't want to come back.
no. I like coming back, but I like that I get to leave again.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I can't. Fuck. But you know, this is my home, man. I was born here, and you know, it's Barry. It's Barry. It's Barry. It's Barry. Well, you know what, man? I definitely I'd like to have another sit down with you for sure, sometime in the future, and
I'm
you know,
game.
see how things go, and you know, see what else
What
is new.
what are you hoping to accomplish with this podcast?
Um, it's just something I want to do, and I think that I'm not looking to make it big or anything. Same with my streaming, man. I don't give a shit, you know. And I think it's me getting to know artists that I don't know, or even getting reacquainted, even with you know, like you. I haven't seen you in forever. We, you know, we see each other at the conventions, but we're working. We're kind of doing our thing, but you know, catching up essentially, right? And even artists I don't know, hearing, you know, their story, their backstory on how they became an artist or whatever, just hearing about their life, you know, their tattooing life. And you know, people that are not artists, you know, clients, say my clients or whatever. And like my first guest, Ryan Hawks, he's an entrepreneur local to Barrie. He owns Athletic Culture, which is Barrie's huge high-end gym. It's new, it's amazing. I'm obviously a member. He owns Elements Food Co. So he's you know, meal preps, all that stuff. It's actually sold out of Athletic Culture. So he's just he's a fellow podcaster as well, you know. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched it or whatever, but it was you know, my first podcast. It turned out great, and everybody liked it. I got lots of downloads on Spotify and iTunes already, some views on YouTube. so it's almost like self-satisfaction, and it's, I like doing this kind of thing, I guess, and, just the podcasting part, I like doing that kind of thing. It's new to me. And like I said, I'm a streamer. I stream video games. So I have that kind of, that I don't know, that niche, I guess you could say, for being behind
Mhm.
the camera or on camera, whatever. I don't give a
Yeah.
shit. Um, but yeah, it's more about getting to know people, hearing their stories, catching up with old friends, stuff like that. Just
Yeah.
everything's just kind of died off. Like I don't really associate with anybody anymore, and it's
Ye-
not because I don't want to. It's just everybody's doing their own thing. You know?
Yeah, this is a good way to to connect with people and maybe connect with people that that wouldn't have the opportunity to get some insight into the tattooing world, like our clients. They only
Yeah,
know so much about what tattooing is, but this gives a window into the industry. And I'm going back to what you were saying about conventions too. Like, fuck, I miss conventions, and conventions kind of did the same thing that what you're doing right now is they gave you that opportunity to socialize and interact with people
yeah.
and hear their thoughts on things. And I had to cancel 4 conventions this year that I were signed up to do because of the pandemic and everything being shut down. And I was really, really bummed out about that because conventions mean a lot to me. It's not about going to a show to like show off how good you are at tattooing. It's
Just
about
networking, man. Catching up.
networking and socializing because yeah, we bury our faces in a tattoo all the time. It's really nice to kind of go, oh, let's go to a place where we can kind of be in around tattoos, but we can also look up and check things out and see what everyone else is doing and talk to them and socialize with them. Like, oh man, you're from Australia. I haven't seen you in like 3 years. Good to hang out with you again. Like that stuff's really, really rad to me and really important to me. And I really, really miss it. And I really hope that we have conventions come back.
Oh man, me too. I really do. And yeah, it's just something that I've missed and many of artists have missed, obviously, right? And we need it. I think we need it, and it plays a huge role in
It's
our
important for
lifestyle.
sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, with the podcasting thing, I think a lot of clients are gonna watch this, or just people that are interested in just opening it and listening to it or watching it. They're hearing more about our insights on tattooing and stuff, right? Stuff that they wouldn't know. This is stuff that basically, when you're tattooing somebody and they turn around and they ask you a question, like how long you've been tattooing, or that kind of
Mhm,
shit, right? It's
mhm.
those kind of questions that are going to get answered for them that they never knew that they were going to ask us. It's like holy shit, like they just learned a ton of shit from me and you talking.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that a tattoo collector may not be aware about unless they've been fully immersed in this culture for a long time. Because I know some collectors that I've tattooed that they know more artists than I do. I'm like, holy
Yeah,
shit. And like
I
you're
know, right?
really into
It's
stuff.
crazy. Yeah,
But then there's your average collector that's like, they might have a couple of small little tattoos and then boom, they come to you for their first like big piece, and that's their first real like introduction to this is what a real tattoo is all about. And yeah, you get asked some pretty basic questions that you're like, oh, you didn't know this. But yeah, I like the idea of having this podcast and kind of getting into the nitty gritty of what tattoos are all about and how they kind of are interwoven in the fabric of our humanity and our
Mhm.
social structure and where we're going with this world. And it's crazy how tattoos have exploded and how much
Yeah,
people love them. I'm fucking super lucky to be alive right now in this time
yeah,
where
buddy.
tattoo popular as it is and to be able to make a living. And I
It's definitely an interesting time to be alive, eh?
yeah, we're living in history right now. This is
Dude, oh
crazy.
yeah, fucking right we are. It's nuts.
Oh
But
man,
I'm
like
glad you dig in the podcast though, man. It was actually my first guest there, Ryan Hawks. I was just talking about. It was actually his idea. He steered me in this direction, actually.
is he a tattoo collector? Is that how you met him?
So I'm actually no, I met him at the gym, and my buddy actually told me about this gym because I'm a huge gym goer. I've cut some weight, and it helps me with my mental health as well, which I should have mentioned before. But I met him there, and he's got. If you watch the first episode, he's got a few tattoos, tribal tattoos on both arms, and it actually had a meaning behind it. It was like armor, and it didn't turn out the way he wanted. He had a few sessions of laser done to it, and I started covering it up. with stuff that he likes that I told him that would actually work for a cover up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now we're I did 2 sessions on him so far. I covered up the one arm. I'm jumping to the next arm this Friday actually, and then get that cover up done, and then we're just going to finish them, kind of go back and forth, right? And just making a big project out of it. And he is a super good dude, man. Very nice guy, and I actually enjoy sitting with him, and I enjoy working with him. And sometimes, it's no offense to any clients or any collectors or anything like that I've tattooed or haven't tattooed or whatever. Some people it's not that I don't want to work with them on that project. It's just, I just find my interest is not there, and it's not them as the person. It's more or less the piece. I don't really want to take on that project. Right. And it's no offense to them or their ideas or anything. It's more or less like, there's other artists out there that are actually going to enjoy it, enjoy working with that person and working with that piece. Right.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
that being said, like I enjoy, like I took his idea that he had, and I was like, fucking right. You know what? You as a person, your ideas, that challenge, that hurdle that I've got to jump over to cover that, to make it so I'm satisfied and you are satisfied with those pieces that I'm putting on you. So you don't have to walk around with that shit anymore. I was like, you know what? This kind of made me feel reborn again, you know, made me respect him. And now he's got like 110% fucking like trust in me now in my work and stuff. Right. And we formed a friendship over it. And I see him every day at the gym. And it's just awesome. I just like working with him, and I like those kind of challenges that people give me sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's very self-satisfying, dude.
You touched on two things there that are cool to talk about, and one of them being like being picky about the kind of projects that you take on. I'm in the same mindset too. I've been doing tattoos for a long time. I've done everything. You name it, I've done it. I'm not going to do everything forever. I'm really, really picky now, as I'm sure you are. Like, you have to
Absolutely.
be interested in the project that you're doing. And, like you said, no fault on the person for asking you to do it. And thankfully we have an industry that's booming with artists right now that are hungry to do whatever. Young artists that are wanting to start out and try their hand at all sorts of stuff, that you can be like, hey, this person would love doing this. They do a good job on it, and go to them. I prefer doing this. I'm going to do a good job on this. This is what I do. This is what so-and-so does. So we're really lucky to have that option with all the different artists, that we know someone's going to get a good tattoo no matter what. You can refer them, and then you can take on the stuff that you want to do. And when you're interested in that project, it's going to turn out way better if you like it and you want to do
Absolutely,
it.
dude. Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of people, whether it's an average human that's not a tattoo artist or another artist or whatever, they think that we're kind of like prima donnas sometimes when artists do say that. Oh, I don't want to do that because it's not my style,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. And I know that it has happened to artists. I mean, it happened to me at one point too. My head was fucking huge, and it got deflated, and I got brought back down to where I needed to be, which was just, you know, here now. So and like I said, explaining that to somebody, as a collector or whatever, just saying, hey, you know what, like, it's not that it's any disrespect to you or whatever. I'm too fucking good to do your tattoo, and my shit don't stink. It's just more or less that's it, right? Like, there's other people that can eat that are super stoked to do that kind of shit, and being 10, 15, 20 years into the industry, I think that we've kind of earned it, that we can say, hey, you know
Mm-hmm.
what, like, I really only want to tattoo this kind of shit right now. And I think that's where my interest lies. And I think you're going to end up with a better job, because I'm like excited to do this tattoo, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I can't stop thinking about it. I really want to do it. I'm excited. And yeah, man, we're going to fucking go in, balls out, man, 150, 150 fucking percent. And we're going to knock that tattoo out of the park. We're going to try our best anyway. Right. And that's,
Yeah.
I think every artist kind of goes through that phase at one point, right?
Yeah, yeah, and it's great to know that everyone's going to get the tattoo that they deserve out there. And if
Yeah,
we all take that mentality and all push that, like this is what I want to do. You're going to get a good tattoo if you come to me, and this person will also do it. And then you meet these people, and you tattoo them, and you create this amazing bond. That's the other thing that I wanted to talk about, was the bond that you create with your clients,
hmm
and that trust that they give to you. Finally, after you sit down and you start laying out their tattoo, and they're clicking, they're like, yeah, this person really understands me and really gets what I want to do with this piece. And then you've made a friend, and
yeah,
you just met one, and you have this really intimate bond with somebody, because you spent so much time together, you're inflicting pain on them. They're going through pain. They're telling you shit. Like you're like there as a therapist and they're telling you stuff that they don't normally tell other people because that's how people deal with pain. And then you're like, yeah, I've heard all this stuff about you. I've inflicted pain on you. We're friends now. Let's, you can hang out with those people outside of work after a few sessions of tattooing them because they trust you. And I think that's really special and really amazing. And that's one of the reasons why I love the aspect of tattooing and the connection that you get with your clients and how much it means to them.
So, no, I agree, man. But what's the, with your scheduling and stuff? So like creating new friendships and stuff like that, your schedule, do you like to book yourself up like a fucking year in advance, or do you like to keep your schedule open?
Oh man, I've gone through it all. I've gone through like I'm gonna book like a year out. I'm gonna have 2 year long waiting list. I'm gonna book every 3 months. I'm gonna have my books open, then close them. And I've tried all these different sorts of like booking methods. I've thrown them all out the window, and I just fly by the seat of my pants now. And I just go, all right, I've been established for 23 years. I have a long list of clients. People still follow me. So I'm not really worried about bringing new people into tattoo. So I just focus on what's important. Like I want to do this style of tattoo. This is what I'm doing right now. This is what I care about. So I'm going to book those kind of tattoos and accept these type of design projects. And I just book 3 tattoos a week. And I leave myself open to put a lot of time into the design work. A lot of the pieces that I do are very large, intricate, complicated pieces that I can spend a day, 2 days drawing all day long. So I want to put all of my effort into the design and only have 3 days a week to tattoo. That way I'm not getting burnt out. I'm not getting overworked. I'm balancing out, like I have enough time to draw and enough time to do the tattoos and enough time to deal with my business and my home.
Yeah.
So that's what I found has worked for me.
Yeah. Like with me right now, I'm again, I'm not working the whole 6 days a week, right? I'm there like 3-4 days a week. And having kids and stuff like that, shit happens, right? Like I've got to rebook appointments and stuff sometimes, right? Life happens and people get pissed, but it's like if you like when you got to rebook and stuff like that, like sometimes I've got to rebook somebody 2-3 times, man, and it fucking makes you look bad. But at the same time, when you've got a family at home and 3 kids at home, they go to school and schools are cesspools for fucking bacteria and they get sick and shit, and it's life happens sometimes,
Yeah.
And it just is what it is, right? But I think
you got a complicated set of parameters that you kind of have to work around. So like your schedule and the way that you book things is going to be different than the way that I deal with things. And I definitely think that serious clients have to be understanding to the artist having a life, and that stuff comes up, and sometimes we have to rebook. And it's not that we're trying to avoid you or not work on you. It's just that things happen. You got to be fluid with things and be able to rebook things. And changing your appointment isn't the end of the world. We also ultimately want to do the work on you, but you need to take care of what's important to you first and foremost. And that means your family comes first.
Yeah. And you got to be straight up in your head too. You got to have everything together, right? Because that's the thing. If you've got shit festering in your head and you're not having the best day and you go to tattoos, and sometimes it fucks with you, man.
Yeah, dude, that's something that I wrestle with to this day. Like you show up for work one day and you're like, fuck man, I feel off today. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to create art on anybody. And you're like, the pressure of like, I'm going to do this and it's going to impact them forever just sits on your shoulders like this heavy, heavy weight.
It's a big weight.
And you're like, when do I call this off? When do I be like, no, I'm not tattooing you today. I just don't feel right about it. And you don't know how to make that call. At least I don't know how to make that call, but it happens.
I don't think we ever will know when to make that call, man. I really don't. And I think we just kind of push through it a lot of the times, man. I know I do.
You put on your shit-eating grin and you fucking buckle down and you do the best that you can.
Yeah, man. That's just something that we do, right?
But that shit weighs on me. Like if I tattoo and I'm slightly off, I always think about it afterwards, and I'm like, man, I could have done better. I'm hard on myself. I'm really, really hard on myself. Way more harder on myself than the client that's looking at me doing their tattoo. So I could look at it and I'm gonna find all the little flaws that I fucked up on. I'm like, oh, I could have shaded that in darker, or I could have added more highlights there.
Well, we are our own worst critics, right?
Yeah, it's nothing that anyone's going to look at and go, oh yeah, this looks off. They're not going to know, but they don't know what's in your head that day. And
Yeah.
You just, yeah, you beat yourself up sometimes if you feel like you could have done better. But I also think that that's an important part of what makes a good tattoo artist and what makes a good a creative person is that drive to always be better.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's crazy the amount of shit that we fight sometimes, right? Everybody fights, man. Everybody's fighting a fucking battle, no matter what profession they're in. You know, they got to go to work and do their shit. Fortunately for us, we have a different line of work where we kind of have a little bit of leniency, where we can be like, hey man, I don't want to come in today, or some shit's happened, I can't come in. So we got a little bit of play with us, rather than like a 9 to 5 job or a factory warehouse or whatever, where you're on a fucking 8 to 4 schedule 5 days a week. If you don't go in, you're fucking fired, kind of sort of deal, right? But these are the things that we did as an apprentice, and paying our dues, and doing this kind of shit. We did all that kind of shit to get where we are now, to have this, right? Like, it comes with it. It's a perk, right? Essentially, I guess, is that a way to look at it? A perk? I don't know.
I guess so. I guess it's a convenience that we're afforded. Definitely, our industry is very unique. We don't necessarily have bosses breathing over our shoulders, telling us that we have to work and we have to do this. I mean, that being said, I've worked in lots of tattoo studios that I was forced to do things that I didn't want to do.
Yep, me
Uh,
too.
and yeah, I'm sure we've all got those stories. But now, being an owner, obviously I make my own schedule. I do whatever I want, but also everyone in my studio is also, I consider them an owner too, because they're owning their own business and they're promoting themselves. So they have control over their schedules, and they can say, I'm not tattooing today if I don't feel like it. And as long as you're professional and you try to keep moving forward and communicating with everyone with that, I think that's fine. That's totally
Without
fine.
having any negative impact on the business too, right? Because I mean, like, everybody's name is on that shop, and at the end of the day, your name's on that shop too, right? So again, I agree with you. I just, that being said, no negative impact on the shop. So as long as they're professional about it, right? Because
Yeah,
again, if you look at like Google reviews and all this other shit, Reddit or whatever the fuck, where people give bad reviews, right? Online is a very fucking scary place with reviews and shit. It can fucking bury your business. One comment can fucking bury your business, like a bad review. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's
yeah, reputation is very important in the
yeah,
industry.
yeah, man, absolutely.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Um, uh, People are going to say things. People are going to have complaints about things, whether they're legitimate or not. I try not to, think about that sort of thing. The people are going to write reviews. They're going
mhm.
to, and I want them to be honest and true. And if there's something that, an area where we could improve, great. I'll see if it's legitimate, and if I can improve on it, I will. But
Yeah,
uh, I've also been pretty selective with the kind of people that I bring into my studio, and I know that they're professional. That's part of their subcontractor contract, is to just be a professional. Like, I don't have to really say any more than that. I
yeah,
trust
no,
them. I know them as people. They're my friends. They're my coworkers. And I totally trust them to be a professional, or they wouldn't be in my studio in the first place. So I
yeah.
don't stress about that. I don't worry about that. And at this point, I haven't had any problems with any artists that work in the studio being unprofessional, or having any issues with clients. And if there's issues, we work together to solve it. And there's nothing major that ever goes on, because I trust them.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, you have to have trust in your artists, man. They're your family, they're your friends. We're working alongside each other. And that's what I like to tell. I've said this to my artists before. I was like, you don't work for me. It's essentially, we are working together. It just, one of us has to own this property to rent out the space, or whatever, to give us a spot to tattoo. So for, like, it's me, fortunately, I've got this many responsibilities, where you have this many here, right? You got to
Yeah,
tattoo, be responsible, do your shit, play your part. I have to do
yeah,
that too, plus this much more, just
yeah.
because this is mine, right? But I don't like telling them that you work for me. I'm not that kind of fucking person, man. And I think
No, and
that,
that's not the way our industry works either. There's a lot of shops right now that are operating much like yours and mine as a collective. Like, we have a bunch of artists working there, and we're all working towards the same goal. And the shop wouldn't be what it is without them. So having that mentality is very important. That we're all just trying to do the same thing. But okay, yeah, we
absolutely.
we're the owner, so we have a little bit more stuff, a little more shit that we have to deal with, and that's why we take a little less time for tattooing, and have a little bit of time that you're dedicated to, paying taxes and doing promotions, running your social media sites, and doing your podcasts, and it's all part of doing the whole business owner thing.
You just brought something up there, actually. Even now, like, again, with the tattooing industry, what it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago to what it is now, we also have social media that we have to keep up with on top of our job, on top of our life. Now we're on fucking Instagram and Facebook and TikTok if you want, and Snapchat, all this other shit, but it's mainly Instagram or Twitter as well. Sorry. So there's mainly Instagram and Facebook. So now you have to, like, we've always taken pictures of stuff and printed them off, put them in our hard copy portfolios, but now we've got a online reputation as well. Right. And we got to stay on top of that social media, reply to clients that way. So it's not just a matter of them coming in anymore, or just a simple email that we can pick and choose and, all that shit. So
yeah. So that being said, do you drive your social media presence? Is that you? Is that all you sitting behind a computer, replying to people and posting stuff and promoting stuff? Is that you?
on my end, yes, that's me.
That's
I
you.
do
Okay.
I do all of my own shit right now. And I know some artists are gonna have, like, bigger names and stuff, right? They're gonna have assistants and stuff, and they can do that. They might have that person at their disposal that wants to do it for them. That just, I'll be your assistant, I'll run your social media. You have to learn how to trust that person with your passwords and your online identity, essentially, right? And replying to business people that are putting food on your table and paying you, that's in their hands now if you have an assistant, right? But myself on my end, no, like, I do everything right now, and that's
Wow.
a part of me stepping back from tattooing full time so much, is because I'm trying to do everything else, and I am doing everything else on my own, right? So it's nuts, man. It's crazy. Do you have an assistant, or are you just doing it all yourself too?
Well, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I'm really horrible at social media stuff. I'm not so good at it. I just post and ghost.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know what that term is, but I just post a photo of a tattoo and then I walk away from it, and that's all I do. I don't really engage too much. Every once in a while I will, but social media gives me extreme anxiety, so I've
Yeah.
stayed away from it a lot. So in answer to your question, I don't have an assistant, but I do have a shop manager that deals with a lot of the day-to-day stuff. And then when it comes to social media, I have a good friend of mine who's a blogger, who I hired to do all of my social media. So she knows me really well. She actually lives in Barrie. I met her
Oh,
at
nice.
Lucky Devil,
Oh shit, eh?
or through someone at Lucky Devil. But yes, I pay her to be online, to gear all my Facebook stuff, to do all the posts for me, and that's a great relationship, and that works out very well because I can't be bothered to do that, and I would do a horrible job at it if I was.
It takes a lot of weight off your shoulders too, right? Lets you concentrate on more things
Yeah.
that are at hand, essentially, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't have the time for it, so I pay someone else to do it. It's more
Mhm.
valuable for me to do that, but it's very important to have that social media online presence with your business. So, kudos to you for doing it all yourself. That is a tremendous amount of work that you're putting into doing that.
It's a lot. It's a lot. And
Yeah,
like we touched base on this before. My mind doesn't fucking rest, dude. That's where these little saggy pockets come from. Is all this shit. I do this all to myself. But
yeah.
you know, I'm trying to do so many things at once, but it's just stuff I love to do. And like I said, if this ends up taking off, so be it. Streaming takes off, so be it. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't, I don't care. It's, I'm doing it. That's the main focus here.
Well, and I think that's the way that it's going to go, man. You're going to do something that you love, and it doesn't matter what happens, what results come out of doing what you love. I mean,
Hmm.
we got into tattooing because we loved art and we wanted to keep doing art, and we wanted to find a way, like, how can I do this every day and just do this? So you become successful without even trying. You're just like, I'm passionate about it. I'm going to do it. I want to do it.
Hmm.
Whatever comes will come.
You know
And
what's
the same,
funny? Sorry, go on.
whatever happens with your podcast, it was going to happen, and you're still going to do it because you love it. So I
Yeah,
think that it's probably going to be successful for you. At least I hope it is.
I hope so too, man. I hope so too. Obviously, I don't even care about the financial thing. I don't care. because I
Yeah,
still have
that's irrelevant.
tattooing. That's irrelevant to me.
Yeah.
But it's funny. I remember you said, you made a comment earlier about your drawings on your mom's fridge.
Hmm.
And I remember, like before I was tattooing, man, like my mom, even to this day, she sent me, emailed me a photo and said, "Hey, you remember this?" And it was like a fucking comic character from Cyberforce from Image Comics. I don't know if you know who like Rip Claw and all them guys are, but I did pencil drawings of all these guys on paper, like 11 by 17 paper. And my mom still has the original drawings, man. And it's that kind of shit, that wanted me to be an artist. I wanted to be an artist because of stuff like that. And I even have memories of sitting at a little school desk where the seat is attached to the desk, and it was in my bedroom when I was a fucking little dickhead. And my dad would come up to my room, bring me a sandwich and a glass of milk when I was drawing comic characters and stuff, man. And I would be creating my own comic books, and my little slides and stuff. And it's just crazy. It just made me think of all that shit when you said that, and it's just making me say it now, which is nuts.
That's pretty interesting. It really seems like, and I didn't know all this stuff about you, and I'm glad we got a chance to like kind of go back down memory lane, because that's very, very similar to my childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be sitting on my bed until 4 o'clock in the morning, and the sun's starting to come up, and I'm like, man, I've been sitting here all night drawing a comic book.
Yeah.
That, I mean, I'm not doing it for anything. I'm not trying to make money off of it.
No.
I'm 12 years old drawing a comic book just because I felt like drawing a comic book, and I couldn't go to sleep because I was so like into it and focused on it.
Yeah, man.
It was inevitable that we were going to become tattoo artists.
Right.
It really was. This was the natural evolution of who we are as artists. It was going to happen this way no matter what. I think it's funny that we're both very similar in that aspect too. And that probably is problematic at the same time too, with how much focus we have. And you forget sometimes that, like, oh my God, I'm really being obsessive with this. And I've been tattooing for 10 straight hours. Shit, I better go to the gym tomorrow and work this off, because my all contorted and twisted and my shoulder's all sore now.
Yeah, man. Oh, dude, like with my car accident from years ago, like that fucked me up. And tattooing does not help, man. It doesn't help at all with my injuries. But like going to the gym every day.
What injuries do you have from your car accident?
I've got deteriorated discs and stuff on my lower back, and it's thrown off my hips. It's thrown off a lot of stuff, right? And not to mention age. I mean, I'm not an old fart, but I'm an old fart at the same time, right? So I'm getting older. So, and on top of all this, I'm tattooing. So I'm sitting numerous hours at a time for numerous days in a row. And it's just like, how it is, man. We get fucking sore. Like, it's fucked. Like, our eyesight is shit, our necks, our backs, our hands, our fucking arms, our shoulders, everything. Like, it just takes a toll on you, man. And like me, I gained weight from tattooing for so long, man. And it's because of our hectic schedules. We never had a set date, set time to eat a proper lunch. And, and I gained fucking weight, man. And I got a little bit chunkier than I wanted to. And I've been smashing the gym a lot, not to be a gym buff at all. It was more or less, I need to feel good about myself. I need to like feel good about myself physically and mentally. And, get on a proper eating schedule so I can feel better, so I can tattoo, so I can be a dad, so I can live, so I can do all this stuff,
Yeah, you need to balance your life out with healthy stuff and working out. And I know what you're saying about your deteriorated discs. I never had an accident like that. I can't imagine having to go through that. But I did let myself go, much like yourself. I got fat and I ate fast food a lot, and I didn't work out a lot, and I didn't care. I was just so focused on tattooing, and I have herniated discs in my back now from throwing my back out, having a weak core, not caring about my health at all. And that was disastrous for me. It was years and years and years of physiotherapy trying to get better again.
And that fucks with you mentally too, man.
Oh, mentally. That was the worst part of it.
Yeah,
that was the worst part of it. And the physical stuff was hard to overcome, but the mental stuff was keeping me from overcoming the physical stuff too. It just kept pushing me back, because I was in this hole of like, I'm never going to get better. I'm never going to feel good. I'm never going to be pain free. And I wasn't getting out of that hole for so many years until I got the proper diagnosis. I pushed my doctor to give me the proper diagnosis, and then I pushed to find the right physiotherapist for me. who was able to teach me about the mental aspects of what I was going through, and realizing that I was defeating myself before I was able to move forward. And once I realized that, I was able to get past my issue and continue to work out like yourself. I do it every day, at least a little bit every day, so that I don't go back to that dark place where I was in pain all the time, because I want to
Yeah.
keep tattooing for as long as it's possible. And the only way to do that is to be healthy.
Yeah.
Number one priority in life is to be healthy.
Oh, I agree.
And
100%,
now,
man.
now with all this shit that we're going through, with everyone scared about catching a virus, I mean, that should be paramount in your life for every single human being on this planet. Get healthy. Do whatever you can to get healthy. Exercise. Eat right. You know, have good relationships with people. Bring positivity in your life. Get rid of stress. All of these things we should all be working hard on to try to achieve in our lives, and everything else will fall into place after that.
Yep. I agree. Getting rid of stress, that's everybody's fucking go-to, right? That's what everybody wants to do. I wish.
Yeah, and that's why I don't go on social media, because that stuff stresses me out. I don't feel like I need to go on there, aside from just posting my tattoos. And I'm happy with just posting my tattoos and leaving that alone. It's good for my mental health.
Yeah, a lot of people just fucking air out their dirty laundry on there. I'm not gonna lie, I've been guilty of it. I've gone on there and, you know, been a social butterfly every now and then, but I'm kind of with you there. You know, like, I don't give a fuck about social media, and it's for us, it's free advertisement, and it's a good way to network for us. It's brought me business. It's brought
Yeah,
all of
no,
us business.
just
Absolutely.
like anything, the social media and the internet, it's a tool. It's a tool that can be wielded for good, or it can be wielded for bad. And it's just, you can get trapped in social media. It's not, there's nothing wrong with going online and posting your stuff and saying your opinions. I think it's great that we can communicate with everyone across the world. I think it's a fantastic tool. But you can get trapped.
Yeah,
You
it's
can get,
like I said, it can be a dark place, man. It's a matter of
yeah.
how it affects you, you know. So, and how you let it affect yourself, essentially, right?
And
But
honestly, I'm just too busy trying to make art and to stay healthy to be bothered with that stuff.
well, that's good, man. I really respect you, dude. I respect you as a
Respect
friend, as
you, bro.
an artist, and you know, you're doing your shit. You're taking care of your stuff, man. It's good to hear.
Yeah,
So,
thanks, dude. I respect you as well, and
thanks,
I'm really
man.
happy for all your success, and your tattoo shop's banging. You got a good crew working with you, and I'm looking forward to coming up to see you.
Yeah, well, let's arrange it, man. Let's arrange a guest spot for sure.
Okay. Well, when
We'll
you stop
talk
recording,
offline.
we'll keep talking.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty much ready to wrap it up anyway, and
All
I'd
right.
like to actually save some more conversation for episode 2 with you. So if we say it all now, then we got nothing for next time.
Oh, dude, I'll talk your ear off. I'll talk
Yeah,
for
no, that's
hours.
fine. That's good.
I
That's
got
what I
lots
want.
to say. So don't worry about running out of topics. We'll come back to talking about stuff later. I'm excited. Thanks for
Perfect.
having me on.
All right, brother. Thank you for coming.